Hello, I'm Lois Ann. I'm a registrar at Jenzabar University. In this video, I'll show you how to create a workflow in J1 Web. Before we start creating a workflow, there are a few things that need to happen. First, identify and prioritize which campus processes you want to manage with a workflow. Then outline the steps, stakeholders, tasks, and data that will be needed for each workflow. Finally, collaborate with your school's IT administrator to prepare the necessary datasets, automation plans, interactions, form flow forms, and permissions for your workflows. After the initial setup, you can start creating workflows. There are 2 steps to create a workflow. In the first step, you'll define general workflow details, including the description, the module that can access the workflow, and the J1 Web users who ensure that the people associated with the workflow complete their tasks. You can also indicate whether users in the campus portal will be involved in the workflow process and need it to be visible. The second step defines your workflow stages. Workflow stages group together tasks that need to be completed by particular stakeholders. Within a single workflow, each stage can have a different person responsible for its completion. You can configure your stages to progress concurrently or sequentially. With concurrent stages, any item within a stage can be completed at any time, even if the previous stage isn't complete. With sequential stages, each stage must be completed in a particular order. You can't move to the next stage until the previous stage is completed. We're going to create a sequential course withdrawal workflow with different stages for the student, advisor, coach, and registrar. You can add 1 or more workflow items to be completed within a stage. There are 2 workflow item types: requirements and to-dos. To-do items must be completed by a J1 Web user, and items appear in their J1 Web to-do list for completion. Requirement items must be completed by the person associated with the workflow stage and can be accomplished in J1 Web, the campus portal, or both. There are several different requirement types to choose from, and some requirement types are only available with the licensed version of workflow. The test requirement type can be used to ensure a minimum score was achieved on a standardized test. The other requirement type is a checkbox that indicates a task outside of the system was accomplished. For example, you might have a checkbox for students to acknowledge that they understand the course withdrawal policy. With the data requirement type, you can select a dataset and reference a specific field from that dataset to determine whether the item is complete. For example, you can use a dataset to determine whether the student withdrawing from a course meets minimum GPA requirements. Use the document requirement type to ensure certain documents are completed and uploaded to a person's record. For example, a student may need to have their coach sign a form and then upload the signed form to the workflow. If your school uses form flow forms to collect information, you can use the form requirement type to associate the form's completion with the workflow stage. Schools integrated with DocuSign can use the signature requirement type to obtain digital signatures for PDF forms that have been uploaded. With Workflow Plus, you can also add rules to workflow items, so they are only required when certain conditions are met. New workflows are in the draft status, which lets you make updates to stages and items before the workflow is associated with anyone in the system. Update the status to published after you finalize stages and items to associate it with people in the system. And that's a quick overview about creating a workflow in J1 Web. For more information, see the online help or visit the Workflow Resource Center on myjenzabar.net.